Hello and welcome back to Bill's Man Cave. Today we have a special tour for you. We are going to Japan and I'm going to show you what it's like to be big in Japan. Well, relative to the healthy Japanese people, that is. So, sit back and enjoy this tour of a country that I've wanted to visit since I was just a little guy playing Gran Turismo, as well as some automotive fueled interests that you may enjoy. So, with that being said, to Japan.
Our best option was a flight out of Detroit with a 2-hour layover in Montreal. From Montreal, we flew over Alaska, made a short detour around Russia due to political issues, and landed in Narita 13 hours later. From there, we jumped on the Skyliner train into Tokyo Station.
Why 12? Why not?
Since I can't sleep on a plane, I was going well over 24 hours without rest. All we could do at this point was get rested for our trip to Osaka the next morning. After being interrupted by a group of kids and a mild earthquake, we were able to get some rest. I greatly despise public transit and certainly prefer driving wherever possible, but hey, this is Japan. Having lived with Canadian and American transit my entire life, this was like taking a train ride from the future. The facilities were very clean and maintained to a degree we may never see back home. Service was very professional, reliable, and offered a view that you simply would not be able to enjoy from a car. But this wasn't any normal train. This was the fastest I've ever traveled over land. We rode the Nozomi into Osaka. Japan is world famous for its high-speed magnet trains, and this is an experience you shouldn't pass up. This train turned an 8-hour miserable drive into a scenic 2.5-hour ride. I attempted to follow the route on my GPS, but as my phone struggled to keep up, I saw speeds up to 328 kilometers an hour. After a day of enjoying Osaka's amazing food and sights, we checked into our fancy room at the Riga Hotel. It must have been some off-season deal, because this hotel far exceeded its price point. During our 2-night stay, we went for a castle tour, visited the famous foodie district, and enjoyed the city on foot.
Got a rolls. We got another rolls. I think they're all rolls. Look at this shit. Yeah.
With amazing public transit available, most guides to Japan explain that you shouldn't drive in Japan. With everything else being so organized, I figured the roads should be a pleasure to drive on as well. So, I rented a car from Japan's leading car rental agency, Toyota Rent-A-Car. All I needed was an international driver's permit for the nervous employee to hand over the keys. We immediately drove this car out of downtown Osaka to Nara Park to enjoy the nature side of Japan. Getting out of the city was an interesting experience, but I made it obviously. As we left the city, the roads became windy and I had a lot of fun climbing the mountain. Nara is well known for its domesticated deer population.
Look at his legs. We should have caught deer crackers.
What? I don't have any crackers for you. Maybe you should bow. Maybe I got a cracker hiding in my pocket.
Despite their innocent appearance, the park has many signs posted warning you that the deer will bite or tackle you. After being bitten on the leg, which left a bruise the size of a baseball, my wife eventually found a deer that wasn't a complete asshole. With all the nature and history loving out of the way, it was back to the beautiful roads. I chose to take non-toll roads and enjoy the scenery. Japan's toll roads are very expensive, and for the little time it would have saved us, it wasn't worth skipping out on all the fun. Once I was done spending half of my drive behind this brave K-truck and the unrelenting rain, it was impossible not to enjoy this breathtaking drive. If nothing else, it was cool just to see all the interesting cars on the road. The drive became curvier and more amazing at each turn. Eventually, everyone got out of my way. I engaged the paddle shifters and took the Toyota through its paces. I had only read about it online, and certainly didn't expect to see any. But there is a community of Mopar enthusiasts in Japan. The Mopar B-Series vans. Why? As a fellow Mopar enthusiast, that does seem like a silly question. But I was passed by an aggressive B250 on my way to Suzuka.
Just change lanes
Even
for a
spotted a
signal.
couple more of these vans on my trip. Next stop, Suzuka Circuit Hotel at the famous Suzuka International Racing Course. We rented a premium room, loaded with these track-focused accents intended to enhance your racetrack experience. The buffet was worth every penny. White hat chefs are preparing local and international fare at Iron Chef levels. This was a very fine establishment. Everyone working there was friendly and helpful, classy, but not pretentious. Unfortunately, it rained for the entire weekend we were at Suzuka. But, in Japan, the rain does not stop the races, and neither did it stop my review of this interesting car. Let's start in the rear. This car has been widened to accommodate a wider rear track for this all-wheel drive system. My rental appears to have some tagging to identify it. The car comes equipped with a tasteful dual-looking exhaust system, which I like the sound of. This car has the carbon fiber roof and a rear hatch spoiler. Only the GR version of this car comes equipped with the lightweight forged wheels and the two-door option.
And of course, the rain's picking up.
This car was living up to all of the expectations that I had. Except there was one thing missing. Oh, the entire powertrain. This car wasn't turbo. It wasn't all-wheel drive. This car had the stock 3-cylinder, 118 horsepower engine, and this thing was mated to a CVT with a simulated 10-speed. This car was well equipped inside, providing a sporty feel and plenty of race-inspired features to help you forget about all that. The paddle shifters work well and provide a decent simulation of shifting through 10 close ratio gears. The gauge cluster is simple and the navigation was functional. The floor-mounted shifter will get you between park, forward, and reverse, with the optional manual mode if you prefer to keep a hand down there for nostalgia's sake. The car is loaded with Gazoo racing badges and grippy racing pedals. A lady yells at you from the toll system I couldn't opt out of. I explained to the Toyota rental place I didn't need it, but he either didn't understand or believe me. At an additional $30-something cost for a feature I didn't use or want, that was a little frustrating. Not that this car would ever hold its own in a World Rally Championship, but the same badging as the all-wheel drive version exists in the console. Power and eco driving modes are available with an automatic parking brake. I'm a little disappointed, but it's still fun to drive. The one advantage this has over the full four-wheel drive version is it's lighter. It's 2,400 pounds, and on a tight mountain road, it's still a lot of fun to drive, so I'm going to make the best of it. Following the sweet sound of racing cars and the iconic Ferris wheel, we grabbed some community umbrellas and headed down to the track entrance. We caught the tail end of some Japanese formula races. The cold and rain scared off most of the spectators, so we had the entire place to ourselves, which was actually pretty cool. Other than cars constantly wiping out yellow flags every other lap, it didn't seem to hold the racers back. The track itself is attached to a big, family-friendly amusement park. In between races, I jumped in the Ferris wheel with my wife and took in the aerial view of the track. After half a dozen wrecked cars were dragged off the track, they cut this amateur race short by one lap. If you thought NASCAR has exciting crashes, they have nothing on a Japanese racecourse in the rain. The most exciting event was saved for last, the Japanese Grand Touring cars. This is something I've been waiting to see since I was 8 years old playing Gran Turismo. These professional drivers managed to keep it on the track with their all-wheel drive systems, and it was an amazing race to see. The gift shops contained a treasure trove of automotive gifts and rarities, most notably, a Japanese dinky car version of my Yaris GR to take home. Since I'm stuck here in traffic on my way into Nagoya, might as well do a review. This thing is a lot of fun to drive. Would I buy one? Absolutely. Unfortunately, I can't buy one of these in Canada, but if I could, I think I would. Styling has really grown on me. I actually really like the look of this car. I love the big haunches in the back. Very sporty, really cool car. Lots of room for a bigger guy like me. I don't feel like I'm cramped in this thing. Nice and comfy for long rides. These sporty seats don't compromise in comfort. This is a great vehicle to have if you're driving around in Japan with tight roads and all of that. I'm gonna miss this car. After dropping off the rental in Nagoya Station, we jumped on the Shinkansen again and tore ass back into Tokyo to meet up with a couple of friends. Tokyo is a massive, breathtaking world city, but I felt like this is where my tour ended and my tourer's trap began. No longer in the driver's seat, we fought our way through the crowds and subways, largely unable to record any meaningful video. Here's a short list of some of the places we visited and would highly recommend. If you want more details on those, I'm sure you can find some better content elsewhere that goes into detail. My advice: if you are traveling to Japan, try one of the other cities like Osaka, Nagoya, or Suzuka. You will save some money, get far better treatment from the amazing local Japanese people, and you can choose your own adventure. Be brave, rent a car, get your international driver's permit, download an eSIM for navigation, and avoid all the crowds and toll roads. If you really want to appreciate Japan and their culture, try somewhere other than Tokyo. If you want to experience Canada, don't go to Toronto. If you want to experience America, don't visit New York. I hope that makes sense. While these large world cities are amazing in their own right, their external influences wash them of the rich culture and warm hospitality you would find in the smaller cities that truly embody the spirit of the nation.
What? What the fuck is all this? What's that? Oh God. The fuck? And with that shitty toilet humor, welcome back to the cave. Well, I hope you enjoyed my personal tour of Japan, and perhaps I offered some unique perspective that may change how you perceive Japan, as it did for me. The only thing we have left now are some of these souvenirs that I traded or shared amongst friends. I got some Pokemon cards from my buddy's kid, as well as a few different dinky cars like this R34 Skyline. Here we have a couple single malt whiskeys that were distilled in Japan. These are unique, very expensive if you try to get them locally. This here is the Hakushu single malt from Suntory Whiskey. And here I have the Nika Whiskey single malt Yoichi. So looking forward to enjoying these over the holidays with family and friends. And perhaps I'll upload some content for that. So if you enjoyed what you saw here today, please drop a like below or subscribe to the channel. Feel free to post any comments. Any feedback that I can get can go towards improving future tours. And I hope that there will be many more in the future. Until next time, stay safe out there.